Hey guys, welcome to the Shenanigans with Shreya podcast. So essentially, it is my last week being 22. I wanted to share some lessons and insights that I've learned over my year of being 22. The first song that I did listen to on my birthday last year was 22 by Taylor Swift, which was really iconic. You can only do it once, you know what I mean? I tried to do 22 lessons, but I just kept writing. So take whatever resonates. I think there's some pretty good ones in here. So yeah, number one, nurture friendships, even if you're far apart. Now, the reality with friendships as I've grown older and I've realized is that you will have phases of ebbing friendships with people where you may be incredibly close with someone for a few months and then you might just like drift apart a little bit because you might be busy with work, with school, things like that. And that's just life getting busy, but you're still friends. You know what I mean? Like, don't mistake that for growing out of a friendship because that can also happen. So give it time to figure out where your friendship stance is with someone. Most times it's just everyone being busy in their own individual lives. And if that's the case, take some time to give your friend a call, Number two, eat everything you want. This is with an asterisk though. So I don't agree with diets and having to restrict your eating. Like, you should be able to eat everything you want. But I have read a book called Glucose Revolution, which has really changed and opened up my perspectives on eating food in the sense of being more informed on what certain food categories do to your body. If you haven't read the book, by the way, highly recommend. It's basically like the same food if you just eat it in a different order. So for example, eating, let's say, a salad, pasta, and dessert. If you have the salad, pasta, dessert in that order, you're likely to have the least glucose spike, which is the healthiest version. If you have the dessert first and the pasta and salad, like if you reverse the order, you will have the highest glucose spike. So it's really interesting just to make informed decisions about healthy eating essentially and just eating what you want, being aware of how it affects your actual internal body systems. And then you can also obviously eat everything you want, but also do balance that with exercise. Number three, invest in new experiences for yourself, even if it's the most vague thing, and especially go if it's free and you have the time to do so. I come from a really small town in Ireland, and I saw that there was this animation studio. Shout out to Cartoon Saloon. They were giving animation studio tours, and I was honestly just interested in learning how the studio works, how their company works. They've done things for Disney Plus, they've done things for Rick and Morty. It was so cool because like it's such a small town and having such a renowned animation studio, I had to go to the studio tour and it was free. So how could I not go? You know what I mean? And I ended up having a fabulous time, really beautiful insights. Now, number four, take a gap year. So I did take a gap year after I graduated from my undergrad degree. I didn't intend to take a gap year. It just kind of happened, but I feel like it's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, through this gap year, I made some amazing friendships and memories, and I got to be a part of a band, which I just wouldn't have gotten the chance to if I hadn't taken a gap year. Taking a gap year just lets you really realize what you want and how you want to do it, and you don't have to really rush anywhere because it's your timeline. It doesn't have to be just academic. It could be when you're like, 5 years into a job, you want to take a career break, like do that, YOLO. Now, number five, you can do everything, but do it wisely. So by that, I mean just being able to balance different facets of your life. I've always been a huge advocate for not narrowing or restricting yourself in what you want to do. Like, if you want to do something scientific, so for example, in my case, neuroscience, and you also want to do something artistic like music, doing a podcast, etc., just learn how to make it work in your favor. Something I remember, and this is kind of where this lesson slash life philosophy has derived from. I went to an open day when I was in my last year of secondary school. And I was between doing a degree in science, business, or music. And I went to a talk at Maynooth University in Ireland. And I went up to a lecturer after he finished his talk. And I told him about this. I was like, hey, I don't really know which direction to go into because I'm just so drawn to everything. Like, I find everything so interesting. And then he told me, he's like, why do you have to choose? Like, why can't you try to do all of them together? And that viewpoint at the time, I hadn't really thought of it that way. I thought I had to choose between my likes. And then I realized, like, no, I can totally own what I want to do and what I like and learn to balance it. So I've always continued to do whatever feels right for me at the time. And I encourage everyone to do the same. Don't stop yourself from doing something if you enjoy it. There will be times when you can pay more attention to something. So for example, if you're doing a degree, the degree might take up more of your time, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't give any time at all to your passions and your hobbies. Yeah. And number six, whenever people plan things verbally, when you're like, oh my God, we should do this. Like, we should go to brunch. We should go to the city together, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we should. Please follow up on that. Write it down. What I do is whenever I have these conversations, like if I have my phone on me or my laptop, I will note that down and I will follow up. Having that plan written down somewhere means that you're not going to forget it. And then you can follow up and actually do it, which will be the actual fun part of it instead of just talking about it. So yes, write the plans down and follow up and actually do them. Number seven, embrace the seasons. And by that, I mean the literal temperature seasons, because they also represent phases of life in a way. Like, it is going to rain, so you can just cozy up, get a book. It's going to be Christmas, enjoy the lights and the markets. There is a lack of sunlight in the winter, but it's such a miracle that we get to experience that in the first place, because the Earth's tilt is one of the reasons why the planet is habitable in the first place. Don't run away from or shy away from those seasons or even hate on them. Just embrace them as they are. Next point, sometimes things might not work out, but be delusional anyways. I'm just going to say a few examples. If you know, you know. The 12 grapes on New Year's thing, I threw coins in the Trevi fountain. Some things might not work out and that's fine. Just be delusional and have fun with it. Follow through with these silly little superstitious things sometimes. They're fun. Number 9, shoot your shot. And with that, I mean everything, in love, in opportunities, and career. I'm in a band and we got our first music festival just because we shot our shot. So don't stop yourself, because at the end of the day, all it's going to be is like, hey, it's a yes or a no. And if it's a no, you just move on with your life. It's a yes, you've opened a door that you didn't even know existed until yesterday. Pretty nice. And number 10, try the thing that seems the most interesting on the menu or the thing you're really craving. So by that, what I mean is sometimes you're looking at a menu, you get really overwhelmed with choice. What I tend to do is the thing that seems to have the most ingredients and feels like the most interesting thing on the menu, I will get just to try. But then sometimes you have those days where you're just like, I'm craving pizza right now. I'm going to have pizza, like comfort food. But it's nice to sprinkle in new dishes so you have new culinary adventures and not just the same thing over and over again. Number 11, travel. The world is so big and I want to live in so many different cities. And I really do think that traveling just broadens your perspective on so many things. Whenever I'm in a new city, I just wonder, I'm like, wow, this is their normal, I love that perspective shift and being like physically in a different location. You also do make friends in these different locations. I remember earlier this year, I was in Gdańsk in Poland with my best friend and we just met a girl from Egypt and now we like follow each other on Instagram. She's invited us to Egypt and if I ever go, I'm probably going to hit her up. So you just make these really sweet memories and meet people from across the world. Traveling is such a way to unite people, I feel like, and it does wonders for your life experience. So yes, travel as much as you can. I do think as I'm growing older, I started to prioritize working in a way that allows me to travel. So, remote working, hybrid working, where I'm just able to bring my laptop with me, connect, work, earn for the day, and then go and wander into a new city. That's the aim. And there's so many ways to build passive income sources online, especially in the world that we live in now with like digitalization. So yeah, if you want to travel, make it happen. Okay, number 12, go to concerts, but specifically smaller upcoming artists. So for example, earlier this year, I went to see Mark Amber and I usually tend to go to like bigger concerts in arenas and stuff. And this was the first time where I'd gone to an upcoming artist. He's the one who sang Belong Together, You and Me Belong Together. And I had the chance to meet him, which I actually didn't know I was going to get. I thought it was just a sound check, but it was actually a meet and greet and I got to meet him. And you realize that when you're on the brink of entering the music success world, like you've kind of made it with the song, you could just tell that he was so grateful and it was surreal to him that he gets to do this. And he said it himself, it's like he accidentally got famous. He's just processing that, people actually know his songs, that people know him. I went solo and I met some amazing people there and it was just such a fun time. And because it's a smaller artist, the community is a bit more tight-knit and the show itself seems so intimate and direct to you, There was just so much love in that room and so much eye contact made with the artist himself. So I think go to smaller artists, go to smaller venues, let music inspire you and just love the fact that music can do that to people. So yeah. Next point, we have always check if you need to pay for a parking ticket. Never assume that a cinema is gonna cover the parking ticket for you guys. I learned this the really hard way. Without getting into details, just know that Minecraft cost more than it needed to. Anyways, next point. If someone always seems to be trauma dumping on you, respectfully listen and then guide them to mental health resources for professional support. So someone in my life kind of kept talking to me just about herself and just about her life problems and complaining all the time. And there's a point where you listen, but then you realize like, wow, this conversation is so one-sided. Like not once has she asked how I am at all. It's just about like her world and her despair. And I listened a few times, but then there's a point where it's just like, hey, I would love to be there for you, but at this point, because it feels extreme for you, you should go to see mental health resources, probably available at your university as well. So that's what I did. And I think she got the message. So it works out. Number 15, sitting on a sandy beach, yapping as the sun goes down is like one of the best days ever. Highly recommend doing it with a friend, even by yourself. Just sit there and it's just so peaceful. You'll see people walking their adorably cute dogs. You feel alive on a beach. And number 16 is life is magical if you let it be. And gratitude really helps with that. Just being like, wow, this is my life. Like how incredible. Even if it might not feel picture perfect at the time, just having pockets of gratefulness in your day can change so much. Literally last week, I shed tears in my room just being like, I am so grateful that I get to do the course that I'm doing, the university that I go to, flatmates that I live with. Like everything just felt so good. Even though it was busy having a difficult assignment due and things like that, like there's always room to be grateful for things. And it really changes the quality of life that you have. So yeah. Number 17, holidays in hot climates are overrated. So choose a different temperature to explore a place in. This is inspired by a family trip we took to Italy in June. Mind you, June is still the beginning of summer, but it was hot. Like my brother and I were like, this is probably the last time we're going to go to a hot location because realistically, you can only really travel properly or explore properly in the evening or in the early morning. But like, who's waking up early morning? You know what I mean? It's too hot otherwise to actually roam around without being like burnt to a crisp. I've gone into the category where I'm like, I need moderate temperatures. So anything around 20 degrees is fine. Above 25, it's just not a pleasant experience. And I'd rather have like a bit of a cooler 20-degree holiday. So yeah, we're going to go towards moderate climates. Number 18, I've written lucky girl syndrome down. And the reason why is because I came across this term, looked into it, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like a manifestation thing about where you assume you're like the luckiest person. And I just thought about that for a second. And I was like, okay, interesting. And what's really wild about this is that in the 1 week I came across the lucky girl syndrome term for the first time in my life, I won Benson Boone album release tickets, Florence Road gig tickets, I won free matcha from a cafe in Ireland, and a major music label started following me on Instagram. It was like the most overwhelming 36 hours in the best way. And I was really like, wow, I do feel lucky right now. Yeah, just be delusional. Everything ties up with being delusional, though there is science and actually like neuroscience behind being delusional, which we'll probably dive into another episode about, manifestation and how being delusional actually does make sense on a brain level. But yeah, lucky girl syndrome, believe in it, guys. Just do. Number 19, sometimes you won't get along with people on a professional level and it might cost you your job, but your peace is more important, so don't let someone project their issues onto you. Number 20, always show up and always be kind to every single person you meet, ever. Number 21, laugh more, act more, be goofy. And this ties in with like belly laughter that you have, those pockets of laughter and joy. Just do that more. Watch something funny, be around funny people, go to a stand-up comedy set if you have to. Just laugh more. It's like the best thing. 22, the best day ever is also an art gallery, a bookstore, a stroll in a park, and a cafe. Every one of my friends that I ever just hang out with, this is what we do, and it's always the best time. Number 23, have picnics with your friends. There is just something so relaxing and chic about being able to sit in a circle with your friends and just yap about life or play a game together. Those vibes are so immaculate. Specifically, like I'm from a town in Ireland called Kilkenny, and we have a castle park, which is the picnic location for the entire town. We were walking back from youth theatre, my brother and I, with a few friends of ours, and we just ended up walking to like the castle park because it was on the way, and we just sat. And then we got some ice cream and we called one of our other friends like, hey, we're in the park right now. Do you want to join if you're not home already? And then he joined and it was so wholesome. And it's like one of those moments where you just feel really good and alive with your friends. Number 24, salted vanilla matcha is pretty fire. As much as I don't really have a preference for like coffee or matcha, I tried salted vanilla matcha and it's absolutely fire. Like I would have so many of those. Also, on the coffee front, I did try coconut coffee recently, and I must say, I'm not a coffee addict, but I got dangerously close just on that coconut coffee. Absolute fire. Highly recommend if you get the chance to try it out. Number 25, watch the sun set more and the moon. Watch the moon rise in the sky, especially the full moon. There's just something so magical about being reminded you're on this little planet, there's the sun and the moon, and they're just so beautiful. And I think taking a moment just to look at that and be like, wow, nature is insane. Number 26, sustainable fashion rocks. Earlier this year, I watched a documentary on fast fashion and how harmful it is to the environment. And it kind of gave a perspective that I didn't really know before about how much waste there is in that industry and how it can be easily managed if you wanted to. And I'd kind of already started to lean towards the more sustainable side of buying clothes, like going to thrift stores more and donate more clothes, things like that. And especially after that documentary, I'm like, yep, I think everyone needs to get on sustainable fashion. I have a friend of mine who mentioned that she doesn't like thrift stores because the clothes have been someone else's and they're dirty, quote unquote dirty. And I'm just like, you can wash them, girl. You know what I mean? Just like wash the clothes. Be more sustainable rather than being like a materialistic consumer because they're pretty well priced and you're recycling clothes instead of wasting them. So yeah. 27, stay up talking late. With friends, with family, those are the moments. Number 28 ties in with number 27 actually. Have more sleepovers. It's so fun. There's something so childlike and wonderful about having sleepovers. Yeah, have more of them. Number 29, listen to your gut. Sometimes things can be perfect on paper, like theoretically, but if it doesn't feel right, like listen to that, backtrack a little bit. So yeah, number 30, say yes to everything. Let life surprise you and gift you with new experiences. So an example of this would be recently I went on holidays with my mother just before university started, and sometimes I don't really think about an experience until I'm literally in it. So my mom was like, oh, we should go sea walking. Now, in my head, I didn't really know what sea walking was. I just thought it was like walking on the sea with flip-flops or something. Sea walking, I'd never heard of it. And I was like, okay, sure. New life experience, right? Did not look into it, had no idea what I was going into. And then we took a little boat from the main island to a smaller raft in the middle of the ocean. Not even a raft, it was just like a rig in the middle of the ocean. The vibes were those of a pirate movie. It was really funny because we just went there and there were like these 6 guys and it was just the 2 of us. We were like, okay, so we're here. And then he was like, oh yeah, sure, you're going to have like your gear. And mind you, we are in normal clothing. Like I'm in my sportswear. Mom is also in her sportswear. And he's like, yeah, sure, we'll put an astronaut-like helmet on you and you'll go down. Just like breathe slowly and normally. He was just telling us like ways to control the pressure. And I was like, sure. And then I remember I was the first person to go in before my mom. And they were like, oh yeah, just keep on going down into the massive ocean, by the way. And I was like, are you actually kidding me? Like the water is freezing. I didn't realize what I'm getting myself into. And then they put the helmet on as I'm like neck level deep in this ocean, basically. And then I was pulled down to the coral reef at the bottom. And that essentially is what sea walking is. Like that's such a random experience to have. Saying yes just like opens you up to things that you probably wouldn't have done before. And I'm actively trying my best to say yes as much as I can, whether it's, plans with friends, with family, with travels. But yeah, number 31, eat small amounts at a buffet and do not order from the counter, no matter how tempting. What I mean by that is sometimes buffets have like a noodle counter, a pasta counter, where they'll make personalized pasta or personalized ramen. I was really tempted. And I ended up getting a personalized ramen and a personalized pasta. But then there was also all this buffet food that I just didn't have the space to eat afterwards. And I was really sad because I was like, I wanted to be really hungry for this. I wanted to try out everything. Mom was like, sure, you ordered a massive ramen and a massive pasta. Like, how do you expect to have space left? So in a buffet, get small amounts of everything rather than like a massive, big amount of something. Just for efficiency. Number 32, treat yourself to a course meal in renowned restaurants. So for example, a 4-course meal, a 6-course meal, 10-course meal, that kind of thing. I did go to 2 this year for the first time. And there's a reason why they excel in their like culinary fields. And if you're a foodie, I highly recommend even just saving up money to go to a renowned restaurant and seeing how their food is. I'd say a good starting one, which is like decently priced, is 6 by Nico, which is across the UK and Ireland. They have a really fun menu that changes every 6 weeks or so. And it just makes the experience of having food so much fun. So if you're a foodie, highly recommend. Number 33, sunglasses are cool. I never used to wear sunglasses, partially because the tint used to be so dark and I used to have to get like prescription sunglasses and it was a whole thing that I was like, I'm not bothered to. But this year, sunglasses have really grown on me. I think they look really cool. I found a tint that I really like that's not too dark. Sunglasses add a lot to an outfit. Number 34, plan your own trips, or be aware about a trip you're going on if you have not planned it yourself. You're not caught off guard or by surprises on a trip. Number 35, having long nails done is a scam. Like, I tried them once and never again. Like, I don't understand how girls specifically have these ridiculously long nails. Like, it makes you so redundant. I cut my fake nails with a nail cutter just because I was like, I can't function like this. Partially, I'm not used to having nails done because I can't play the guitar or piano properly with nails. So I've never really gotten around to hopping on the nail trend. And I did recently. And I was like, nope, this is a one-time thing. If you do nails, you do you, because they look really pretty. For me, it's more just so the functionality. And I'm like, I can't make myself this redundant. There must be ways around it, but I couldn't. And number 36, food courts on top. If you ever have to decide where to go to eat food, highly recommend just going to a food court. They have so many options. It's so fun. The vibes are always great. Recently, I've been obsessed with one in Sheffield called Cambridge Street Collective. So yeah, food court lover. Number 37. Talking about food, Italian food just hits. Literally everywhere I go, especially this is the thing with my mom, we just end up eating in Italian restaurants. We were in Asia and we still decided to go to Italian restaurants because the food's just so good. To be fair, it's like you could try to run away from Italian restaurants, but they will find you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happened to us. Number 38, choose the smaller cities. They are more wholesome and less overwhelming for travel and for work. So, Sheffield, the one that I'm in right now, it's a smaller city compared to cities in England, but it's so wholesome. There's a place called Nantes in France, which pleasantly surprised me because I'd heard things about France where it was like, oh, it's so hard to cross the road there and the people might not be the nicest. But I went to Nantes and it was generally the most wholesome French place I've ever been to. It was like the version of my hometown, but in French with French architecture and French language. Like, it was so wholesome. And we actually got free water. Can you imagine not having to pay for water in mainland Europe? Like, absolutely crazy. So yeah, choose the smaller cities because they're just more wholesome. Number 39, get one of the easiest plants to take care of. And by that, I mean like ones that you literally don't have to water, or just like a cactus or something. Because I've tried to be a plant parent. I got 2 plants. One of them, a succulent, requires no effort. It's just alive. The other one starts drooping randomly. It gets like overwatered or underwatered. Then the soil gets dry. And just maintaining that plant worries me sometimes because I'm like, I'm trying my best. Please don't die on me. So yeah, take care of an easy plant, like the easiest plant. Not even easy, just like the one that you would be able to. Number 40, try out sports even if you've never done it before. So gymnastics, judo, it's a fun workout as well because a lot of us tend not to try out new sports because of the shame or the embarrassment of doing it wrong. But you're not meant to know everything. Like, you're not programmed into the world having done everything on the planet. So I think with that grace, just give it a go. Like, it's a fun workout. You might not go again and you might hate it, but at least you did it, and you know now what you like and what you don't like without assuming what you like and don't like. Number 41, practice MATLAB, which is basically the coding language that I'm learning at the minute, and do all the on-ramp training available online. I do think coding is a really valuable skill to have, especially if you want to move to a more computational stream of work that ties in with being able to work remotely and traveling if you need to. So yeah, do some coding. Number 42, hot yoga is amazing. I had a code to go to hot yoga, like for a free class, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use this code. And when I booked the class, I was kind of terrified because number 1, I read that it goes up to 37 degrees and I don't do well in warm temperatures. But I was like, okay, I've read that there's benefits to this. People actually do this. I was mentally prepared to sweat buckets. And I was like, okay, I might be really uncomfortable. And what surprised me about the hot yoga experience is that I loved it so much. And even though it is hot yoga, it didn't really feel like you were in this humid bubble. And I think that's the thing, like, it wasn't humid, it was hot. So you were still able to breathe and be normal. In the hot yoga class that I went to over here, the class starts at a much lower temperature. Like, I'm assuming it was on around 20, 22, 25 degrees when we went in because it was still room temperature. And as the class progresses, it slightly increases temperature wise, but you don't really realize it until you see like maybe a drop of sweat form on you. And then you're like, oh, okay, it actually is hot. I wasn't sweating buckets, which I was scared of. I found it really relaxing, like ridiculously relaxing. I've done yoga for quite a while. The relaxation that I felt at hot yoga, like I genuinely could have slept there at the very end. So I highly recommend. It sounds scary, but it's not. Number 43, take time to grieve and honor the moments with those who are no longer with us and give yourself grace for processing death because it's always unexpected and you'll always need some time with that experience. Number 44, Celebrate with family, whether it's virtual or in person. Make time to celebrate the love around you. Next point, number 45. Rage bait nature of British people, or just British banter in general, is absolutely delightful. I'm having a great time experiencing this firsthand with my friends, so quite fun. Number 46. Contact lenses are annoying. I have tried to get into them multiple times, and I do think that they serve their purpose on different occasions, different outfits, things like that. But they are so annoying. Glasses over contacts, honestly. That's where I'm at the minute. And the last point, which I think ties up everything really nicely, is everything that's meant for you will stay. And I watched a Japanese movie called Your Name, where they beautifully visualized the red string theory concept, where both of the main characters, they're looking at each other on the precipice of dusk while the sun's setting, and they can just see each other for that glimmering moment, and they're tied together by this red string to indicate the red string theory, and then they vanish after the sun sets. Like, it's such a beautiful visualization of how we could be connected. One of my friends also just recently sent me this TikTok where the chances of anyone ever meeting anyone, they are so low that it's just nice to acknowledge that just by pure chance, your life is built up with these amazing people and opportunities. And I really wanted to get a red string bracelet to symbolize that. And I'm really happy that I did at a farmer's market. And it has like a little heart in the center. And it's a lovely red string bracelet that I love to wear just to remind myself about that concept that the chances of you meeting people are so low, and just enjoy your company with them while they're here. If you're meant to meet someone, you will, and they'll contribute to your life story, which is nice. So this is the birthday episode, the last week of being 22. This might be a really long episode. I just realized I've been talking for literally 47 minutes, which is crazy. Obviously, this will be edited down. Thank you so much for listening. Next time you hear from me, I'll be a year older. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.